Okay, just a little challenging thought for today. In the book of Mark, in verses 9 through 11, we see Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene after he resurrects from the dead. And he comes to her and he tells her, "Go and tell my disciples that I have resurrected and that I'm alive." And the Bible tells us clearly Mary Magdalene had 7 demons before Jesus set her free. And history tells us she was a prostitute. So Jesus appears to Mary and tells her, "Go tell my disciples that I'm living." And she goes and does exactly what he says. She goes and tells them, Jesus is alive. He resurrected like he said he would. And the disciples do not believe. So I think it's crazy that the first person Jesus appears to after he resurrects from the dead and comes out in his glory is an ex-prostitute who had 7 demons. The first preacher he sends out after resurrection, the first evangelist, is a prostitute. And the first recorded non-believers after his resurrection are disciples, who, even though Jesus told them, "I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna come back, don't worry about it," did not believe. So the first preacher, the first evangelist we see after resurrection, a woman who was a prostitute who had 7 demons. And the first non-believers we see after resurrection are disciples who had walked with Jesus for 3 years every day in and out and said, "We don't believe." So read it for yourself and see what you think about it. I think it's important that we never put God in a box, and that we never put people in a box and say, well, these are the kind that can live for God, and these are the kind that cannot. And this is what people should look like that live for God, and this is what they don't look like. And this is how they sound, and this is not how they sound. And this is how they are, and this is not how they are. It's up to God who he chooses and how he uses them. And if he can use someone who was a prostitute that had 7 demons living inside of her to be his first evangelist and preacher, what can he do with you? What can he do with your neighbor? And what can he do with that crazy person that you think has no hope? God is wild. He's crazy. He's free. He's way out of the box. And I encourage you to not put him in a box, and to not put people in a box, especially those people that we think are just a little too far gone, because that might just be who God chooses to do the biggest works in his kingdom.